Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm good. So I was watching that beginning and I was thinking that was actually me signing comic books.
I was trying to go for that. I was going for the that was you in like your castle up on top of the hill
I think
somewhere
back when I
amongst.
started, that was the way things were. We used to use Quill to sign comics and stuff.
My dad always used a chisel and a stone tablet, so you
Uh,
guys had it easy.
I wanted to mention that I'm going to be in the office in like 3 weeks, so I could sign stuff while I'm there. If anyone who picked up books that I'm involved in, unless we have to send them out faster, I don't know the rules. But
Hey, I'd say anyone who bought a wall book can get a wall book autographed if they so choose. I'm saying
and
that
high
now.
definition.
Bam. So today, last time that we spoke in one of these formats, you and I went over kind of your history
Did you wear a
in.
sweater last time?
I was, and Joe told me to wear a turtleneck this time, and I just forgot it. The Saturday thing threw me off. I was not
Yeah.
prepared. I'm
Okay.
wearing. I'm a lot less classy.
I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have brought it up.
It's okay. I did. Did you eat your blueberries?
No, I have a coffee with me though.
Hey, that's
This is one of my oldest and dearest mugs. My Whiskey Pete's Hotel and Casino. Do you know what Whiskey Pete's is?
Las Vegas.
You know, like yeah. Well, no, it's the border of California and Nevada. And Whiskey Pete's is famous for well, first of all, it's famous for all of us degenerates who have to gamble once more as we're leaving Nevada, have to stop at Whiskey Pete's to try to win our money back that we lost. But on top of that, it has the Bonnie and Clyde car that they were shot up in. It's proud broadcasting the Bonnie and Clyde car. It's a good place. Whiskey Pete.
Oh, awesome! This is gonna sound really stupid, but I think I've visited Whiskey Pete's in the video game Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, probably yeah. Was the Bonnie and Clyde car
So,
there too? I never got to that part of the game. I think I didn't play it long enough.
oh, definitely. I highly recommend. So that was like my biggest attraction when we did the VIP event last year in Las Vegas. That was my whole attraction. Was like, okay, yeah, I got to
Oh
go
my
try and
god! If I
find
would have
these.
known that, we could have totally spent a day doing that stuff like we did at Cafe Du Monde. We could have. We could have. I guess if we have another thing in Vegas, we could do that the next time.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, there was not enough, and I'll be more prepared this time because I definitely I just went out and started trekking through the desert. But
You
I
got a little
just
overwhelmed by the. Oh, you did? You checked through the desert?
I yes,
Like
but it was
you went on
everyone
a vision quest?
a little bit. Everyone went out and did the casinos and stuff on the last day, and I was like, well, I I haven't
Yeah,
seen
I have
any.
I have lost a lot of money at those video poker slots in the airport, so I'm quite familiar with them.
Well, here's the plan. Next, but we have plenty of time. You and I play Fallout New Vegas, and if we ever go to Las Vegas again, we'll hit up all of the real world locations.
Cool.
All right,
I think I did
sold.
that a little bit with Fallout 3. I knew that was like Washington and Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
I guess I
the
never really. I'm lying. I mean, I thought about doing it, but I never really left my house. But
no,
I think I
it's
already lived here, so probably it didn't matter. But I remember the whole Washington part, thinking that would be cool.
the capital wasteland.
Yes,
So, speaking of
Wasteland.
fantastic worlds and characters, the plan of today's segment is that we are going to be developing a character, from
Okay.
my understanding.
Yes, that's the word on the street.
that's that's the word from the big man. So, in your experience, and you've created a lot of characters in the past because you've been in the comic books for a long time, do you find like this scenario kind of happened because Joe said, "Hey, I have this idea for a character. I kind of have, this idea for a story." Um, in your experience, does one typically come before the other? Does the character, fit for the story, or does the story come for the character?
I guess usually it's the character before the story, or it could even be like I think I brought this up last time we talked, but like the no, I mean, I didn't bring it up this way. But like the Witchblade, right? The Witchblade came first, and then everything else came after that, right?
So you guys kind of knew,
so creating like a weapon, like a sentient weapon that like had its own agenda came first, and then everything else was kind of built around that. And then in the darkness, the Power of the Darkness sort of came first. I think I know Joe liked when I was talking about us sitting by the pool in San Diego, but if I harken back to that San Diego time once more, even though we didn't actually come up with it, that was one we came up with, and then it took a while for it to actually come out. But I remember like Mark wanted to do like something, you know, some, I guess, Green Lantern-ish power, right? You know, that only worked at night. And then I remember at the time, it was a long time ago, like Tim Burton was really like popular. I was really into like Tim Burton stuff. I'm not sure what movie, probably Edward Scissorhands, or I don't know, something in that era. And I remember pitching the idea like, okay, how about, maybe I was really into Sandman too. So it kind of had a Sandman kind of Tim Burton feel to it, of this guy who like just was eternal, right? A guy who couldn't die, lived in this, he was like a recluse, right? And he could only like really come alive at night. And he created all these like creatures, darklings. We didn't name them that, but he basically could create anything with his power. Like he could create, you know, whatever he wanted. As long as he understood it, he could create it. So theoretically, like he could take a whole bunch of anatomy classes and biology and create a person. But the person would only be alive at night. So he created all these creatures that sort of lived with him. And but he was like this gothic kind of sad story. I guess I was into sad stories. So we brought in Garth Ennis to become the writer of it, and sent him this idea. Like basically, so is this guy, he lived forever until he, you know, conceived another kid, and then he would instantly die, and then that next person would get it, like once they turned 18 years old. So Garth Ennis basically threw out, especially the stuff that I brought to the table. Candy the Unicorn.
Yeah, everyone's obsessed with you. If you'll remember in
Condeelis, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So Condi the Unicorn comes first, and then we create the world around Condi the Unicorn. so just to finish up the other part, Garth Ennis basically threw out everything that I suggested, you know, created the story that was basically like, you know, Goodfellas, with like a mafia guy, you know, like kept the power, kept the conceit of, you know, like once he conceives a kid, like he's gonna die. And some of the other stuff that we kind of threw in the backstory, but basically everything else was thrown out and replaced with something new. And the rest was history, right? I mean, you know, like The Darkness is really popular and well liked. The moral of that story is, don't be married to anything you suggest. Like, you know, if I come to the table with something, maybe if Joe comes to the table with something, you know, gotta listen, you know, because he's the boss and he could fire us and all that stuff. But I think everyone, all of us, including him, I'm sure, the best is what wins out, you know, like we just want to do the best story we can. I don't want to do my story. I want to do the best story. So, you know, maybe there's a moment of ego, you know, where I'm like, that son of a, you know, but it doesn't last, because, you know, what comes out is so cool. How could you not appreciate it, you know? And that's all part of the creative process. It's sort of like you got to go in not knowing where it's going to end. And being happy with that, you know, like I'm happy being a contributor. And even like when you say created, I feel weird when people say that, because I co-created it all, you know, like I was part of it among other people all the time. And I would never claim that I was the one who maybe if there's something particular, right? Like for me personally, I would always like name characters. Well, not like with Witchblade, right? The main character, Sarah Pazzini, I basically took the name from someone who worked at Marvel, who was like a lawyer at Marvel. Her name was Janet Pizzuto. So I just kind of changed it from there, and so sometimes like that I'll latch on to something, or like I used to put my dad's friends character names into some stories. So my dad would look at it and be like, "Oh, look at that! You put the name in there." Even though no one in my family ever looks at my books that I read, I gotta like shove it in their faces. But I would never do that. So, but yeah, my dad in that case, I show him. So yeah, so it's little stuff like that. I'm kind of like Condeelis or Condeelis the Unicorn. Like I'm happy about that. But those are like my wins. Like anything beyond that is really just what makes the story the best. And I think here at Zenescope, we're all that way. Like when we all sit in the room and come up with ideas, we just want it to be good.
Has there one that's like I like hearing that too, and hopefully the fans like hearing it too. That we're the Zenescope team is gunning for good stories above all.
Yeah.
But also the next time, remind me when you come to the office, we got to get you. Sarah made some Condeelis the Unicorn stickers and pins.
Really?
So, oh yeah, I'm telling you, man, he's blowing up.
You know what? I'm glad I'm here talking to you, because I'm in the process of the very early stages of the next Oz series.
Kingdom of the something?
Kingdom of the Lost. With I believe that it's going to be the same team that did the last one. So Guillermo's going to come back to draw the book, and it should be really good. But now that we're kind of Oz is kind of weird, because we go through. Ian has seen the pin and sticker, and I haven't.
Ian. I wonder if we've got any. I'm telling you, the Conde's really taken off. He's gonna be the. He's gonna be on thermoses and lunch boxes and
Is there a
trapper
Casey
keepers.
is Casey trying to get some groundswell for Casey the Caterpillar right now?
Casey the Caterpillar. I don't think I knew there was a Casey the Caterpillar.
I don't think there is. I think Casey's trying to drum up support for Casey the Caterpillar.
Oh, I just saw that. I switched over. I'm seeing the comments now. Casey the what's a really awful animal that we can give her?
Casey the millipede?
Casey
Casey the cicada?
Casey, there you go.
Because there's some like cicada horror movie coming out soon, so it might
Casey the dung beetle.
They can work on that. I think that's more of a Wonderland creation, but I think we're in the process of coming up with a Wonderland. Wonderland's got those giant insects.
Yes, I like one thing I will say, and I know I'm getting a little off topic, but I like Jeff the Jaguar. I like all of like the small little creatures. Like I know Dave likes to make some of those too. Like the in his Cindy book, he had a Clortis, which was a half crab, half tortoise. But I know Wonderland had like some funky penguins. Actually, in your War of Madness Wonderland, there was some crazy some animal hybrids.
we try to go into the lore for that stuff, and we do that in Oz too. Like Oz has the glass like tiger, which I think was a band in the 80s. I think there was a band called Glass Tiger.
It might have been. I'm trying to say, it sounds like a hair band.
I think they had that song that went "Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone." Anyway, they have a glass tiger in Oz. So, like it's real. I always enjoy bringing in the real stuff from the history, to make it make sense. Anyway, I think we've digressed. But...
yes.
Oh no, there's no digression. There's just wow.
Just flowing out.
Hot flips.
Yes, now's a wonderful time to mention that today's episode of Zenescope MasterClass is brought to you by Hot Flips. If you're looking to protect your valuable comic and entertainment entities, look no further than Hot Flips.
I love Jeff from Hot Flips.
Oh, dude, Jeff's a gem. Jeff, there have been debates. Jeff's trying to steal me for the Hot Flips team. He's been like drafting. Every now and then I hear him and Jason going back and forth with
for like a
trades. Yeah.
Well, who does Jeff have to offer? Just a whole bunch of bags and boards?
They want to trade me for a phone. I guess a guy on the Hot Flips team has a phone that's got some attractive. He's a photographer of models, so the phone has been offered. A trade of Noah for a phone.
like the drive of the phone with pictures
Just
on it?
just the phone itself. I think you could throw a few more things in there, sweeten the
You would at
deal a
least
little
need to
bit.
throw in a draft pick. Like, it can't just be the phone. It's got to be
Yeah.
like a future
So
person.
in some sort of fantasy league. I agree. Hit him where it hurts. It's not giving up Noah for a phone, Casey, maybe. So let's talk about this character. So you have Joe, I know, sent over kind of like a rough outline. He said, here's what I'm thinking for Grim Fairy Tales. I don't know how much we're allowed to divulge. But
Well, I think we could divulge. I don't know. What can we divulge? I think anything like on that thing, you know. I think it's more a way that we're thinking about unifying the characters, you know, coming from like a source, you know, like the X-Men are all mutants, or, you know, and we've touched upon it over the years, you know, with the highborns and the, you know, like where they come from. And I think the idea, yeah, Jeff is right. We're all friends. And I think it's more that there are these gems like we showed in the Grimm Fairy Tales annual, you know, that have these powers in them, and they can empower people if they happen to be around them and are attuned to the wavelength of them. So we want to focus on, but there's not too many on the earth, you know, so there's only a couple of people that could get it. There's a character, this is the part I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say specifically, but there's a character that we're gonna like focus on over the summer, you know, and show where that person's power came from, and cover this a lot there. That's vague enough.
I think so.
So, but I think I think the goal here is basically the very general idea is that there's a guy who somehow gets connected to this thing and becomes a hero connected to like a white power, like a light wielder energy power. So with that in mind, you know, my question is, how do we make him interesting? You know, like what are the layers we're going to put on this guy to make someone want to read about him? You know, and I would lean on you, you know, to a certain extent, like to help with that. Like we got to make him, we want him to be different, we want him to be cool, you know, we want people to want to be him, you know. That's always a goal that we have. I think I brought that up last time too, you know. The character, it doesn't necessarily need to be likable, you know. I think if you look at Succession, right, people like the Succession show. Like there's a lot of not likable characters on Succession, you know.
They're all pretty they've all got some pretty awful attributes about them,
right, and maybe you don't want to be like someone who's not likable, but you definitely want to see what they're doing, you know. I was actually thinking, I guess, like along the lines of creating yeah, well, I hear both. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. I hear both of Mark's and Brian's points. Reluctant hero seems to be the norm. So, but then, like, if you go away from reluctant hero, then you end up with Hancock, or or, you know, some other. So yeah, you need a little bit of reluctance. I think what you
because I think nobody would like wants to be in that position, you know.
Mark is saying make the reader the protagonist. That's a little too like choose your own adventure kind of thing. So I'm not sure we could do that, but we could make the reader want to be the protagonist.
Yeah, kind of like a projection, or, you know, being able, just having those small little things that you're able to see yourself in the character.
You know, a young person idea. I'm old. So my version of a young person is probably like outdated. I probably have like a 90s version of a young person, but you know, Noah's closer. So
Hey, let's skateboard. Drink some power drinks.
that sounds like a Stan Lee version of a.
Hey there, true believers.
Unless there was like a whole bunch of those.
But I'm guessing like, so I want to know like, because if the idea is that, you know, there's kind of this unifying element across the realms, and that this person would kind of be, you know, a product of that power. Are they from Earth? Are they from Wonderland? Are they from, you know, just some different entity entirely? Like they're not even part of the world?
I think in this particular case, the person is from Earth, so they
Okay.
wouldn't be like Superman, because it would be sort of like
That's Casey is trying to appeal to the youth.
Oh, but is YP like something, or did she mean up and spelled it wrong?
Cool kids don't know how to spell.
Oh, okay. No, I think it's a person from Earth. It's a person who's got a life. The gem is alien, so they're going to be in contact with some kind of alien entity. I guess going back a step, like it's possible that the gem, the Dave, when he wrote about the red gem in Grimm Fairy Tales, there was a part in the story where they go into the heart of the gem, right? It's like the Dark Princess storyline where he was like wrapping that up, and they go into the heart of the gem, and that's because this kind of finished up his story, you know, where they were jumping from dimension to dimension, sort of Blue Beetle style. So the gem had its own like purpose. So this gem could definitely have its own purpose too. Like, I guess I don't want to rip off, like, you know, when we were at Top Cow, I didn't personally want to do this. I'm not saying I didn't want to do it. I'm just saying it never occurred to me to do it. That, like, for me, the Witchblade we based on Stormbringer, because that's the stuff that we were into, you know. Then it kind of retroactively became like this bigger world where there were all different weapons that were all sort of designed to war each other, you know. So there could be something like that, not necessarily that, but
so the idea,
yes, there could be something Earth related that increases the ability of the alien gem. Because then there's the reason, like, why are they even here? You know, we haven't like covered that, you know, like maybe the reason is to maybe the reason is to empower people to get the Earth to a certain point so they could conquer it, you know, or
like they're trying to like basically like get the like weaken the Earth over time, kind of like planting seeds so that, you know, the human race isn't as strong or capable of taking them on should they attack.
No, the opposite of that. They're sort of terraforming. They're basically giving the people the technology to make the Earth exactly what they want it to be, because they have such little fear of people and their abilities that they just want to come down and take the place.
So are they? It's kind of like, hey, get the place ready for us. You know,
Yes.
warm the house up, get the thermostat going. You know, turn some lights on. We'll be there in a little bit.
Yes. Now, the good thing about creating comic books or TV is that doesn't necessarily have to be what ends up happening. I never saw Battlefield Earth. Maybe that's what they did in that. That Elron was a.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the Scientology one, right?
Well, yeah, I guess that is sort of like Rising Stars. I don't. But yeah, like that's, I guess, like that all we could kind of let it develop, you know. Like, I think all you need at the beginning is like the direction that you want it to go. You know, is it taking bad people and turning them good? Is it taking good people and turning them bad? You know, I don't want to make it Rising Stars. Is it, you know, who is this person that we want to do this with? You know, like, I think that to me is the more important start. I never read the book or saw the movie, so it's hard to. I don't know anything from Battlefield Earth except that John Travolta was in the movie and played like some kind of Klingon.
His dreadlocks.
So yeah, and I know that I tried to do. I like paramedics, but I don't think I don't know if the story works with that. But it would be like a regular guy.
So how much, I guess, because just rewinding a little bit, we talked about the reluctant hero aspect. You know, how much of, I guess, a hero is this person prior to receiving, you know, their powers? Because if they're a paramedic, you know, they're already going out, they're already putting other people, you know, before themselves versus, you know, somebody like, you know, Peter Parker. You know, he's just some high school student. He then decides like, hey, I'm going to go make a career in wrestling. You know, so he wasn't really in that hero position prior to getting his ability. So is this a person that's like, you know, hey, I'm never going to think about being a hero. I've never put myself in that position versus, oh, this is somebody who's now going to use this power to kind of like enhance what they're already kind of doing or, you know, put them on a different path.
Maybe it's someone who I have this I don't even know why I have this. It's like
I've been seeing it bob up and down. I figured that's like a professional writer's.
I think it's because my wife, you know, is doing cleaning a lot, and like she'll find these old cables that are for like old computers that are obsolete. So I just start playing with it
via the VGA.
Probably, so no, I mean, I see what people are saying here. To me, it's more like the person maybe is in a. If the person starts as a hero and then gets the thing, then they're probably going to turn bad. Like I wouldn't think that you could start as a hero and become a better hero. But you could start as someone who is doing something that could be a heroic thing, but they don't use it as, like, if it was I'm not married to paramedic, but like if it was a paramedic, it would be someone who's just doing it while they're going to school to do something else, or it's someone, and you know, a cop stories are done to death, but it would be like a cop who's not that good, maybe not corrupt, but not, you know, doesn't try hard.
So some type of position where they have. So really, you're looking for a position where somebody has the ability to excel, but they're not pushing themselves.
Oh, let me answer what Scott is saying. So what I'm saying with Scott is, if you made Greta Thunberg the hero, it's both a fanatic and turning to the other side. Because, like, to me, if Greta Thunberg became a hero, she would start like blowing shit up.
Yeah, she's going to be like what?
Her goal.
Car manufacturing plant, boom, destroyed.
Which is cool. I think that's good, especially if ultimately the Gem's idea was just to sort of force her in that direction and then like become a villain. Like, it's basically taking someone's, I guess every idea comes from someplace else, but in my original Witchblade idea, like, I don't know if anyone has followed that book, but we had a lot of Tales of the Witchblades, and we had a part where we saw, like, you know, paintings on the wall and stuff, and there were all these like old wielders of the Witchblade, like Joan of Arc and Anne Bonny, the pirate, and so the idea there, which maybe I'm ripping myself off, it's hard not to rip yourself off, because, like, you know, everything kind of generates the same way in my head, that you didn't necessarily, the Witchblade didn't really care whether you were good or bad. It just cared that you were zealous in what you wanted to do. So Sarah was really into justice, so it latched onto that and helped her do it. Joan of Arc was really driven in what she was doing, so the Witchblade. But if you were bad, it wouldn't care. Like, if you were, you know, if you were zealously, like if Greta Thunberg got the Witchblade, you know, and started blowing things up, like, it wouldn't have that, as long as she just cared about what she was doing. So I feel like that kind of would connect to this, you know, in that we don't know what the Gem's agenda is yet, but the gem's agenda has something to do with what you're going to turn into.
So it's almost acting like a heightening, it's
emotionally and powerfully, like everything is just kind of enhanced.
Now, I have a question. Is this, I mean, I don't know if this matters, but is this set in like the present? Like, is this a contemporary kind of setting? Or if this is like a stronger power, is this something that took place in the past, like previously?
I think it would need to end up in the present. Maybe it doesn't have to start in the present, or I think say the person is eternal, or the person just doesn't die. Like they could have started like, will this character recruit? I think I've gone too far. Yes, the Witchblade helps to. Yeah, so like for even going all the way back, like I guess I don't want to keep. I better. I'm gonna keep getting sidetracked by looking at that. I apologize. That yeah, it could start in the past, and I don't think the character. Well, no, I don't think the character would recruit others in this story arc. I think that sorry, we just got some spam in the.
I know. I was looking here to.
I guess they're not telling us to look at porn sites, so
it's better than our usual spammers.
I think that the character. I guess we could play with that idea. It depends if the character becomes like zealous about something. They could want to recruit other people, like say they go to see Robin or I mean, obviously the goal is to have a character like set up its own little world and then bring in, regular characters to it, whoever that is. Like if it's a character that somehow is connected to dead people, then Mystere would be there, or, like whatever the realm is. If it's a character that's somehow connected to monsters, we could put Belle in it. Yes, the character could be recruited by others potentially. Potentially. Oh jeez. Potentially. And yeah, a physical therapist, interesting. It might be too boring.
I said stretch. And the guy ends up just to go complete like a Slim Jim.
What was the sorry for? I don't know. No apologies necessary. We're all coming up with ideas here, so that's totally cool.
Although I will apologize because we're running out of time. Unfortunately,
we're up against the clock.
Yeah, and unfortunately, which sucks because I'm just starting to get.
No, I think you spelled potentially right. I said it wrong. The gem is not from Mist, but it comes to Mist. No, like, and this is really just the beginning. Maybe we could continue this. The next time we talk. Even though by then we probably will have developed it somehow. But that'll be cool, I think, to see the process of, once we've gotten a little further, how do we fine tune it into something that people, want to see, something that I want to see, something that Noah wants to see, even though Noah likes a lot of weird esoteric stuff, but
yeah, I like it all, man. All
so,
right. Well,
did we
hopefully
cover everything, or we
I had some questions at one point or another. But I do remember Joe in the meeting saying that we didn't have to.
Yeah, don't even talk about the questions.
Don't even talk. Forget it. I don't have them anyway. Doesn't matter. All right. I definitely want to continue this conversation because now you got the gears like turning. And I wish we had more time, but
maybe we'll just turn on the live stream while we're talking to each other at some point.
Yeah, they're perfect. This was just a pregame, but there's more to come.
Care about someone who comes to harm that may cause. Yes, like what Mark is saying is definitely a possibility. Because I mean we want the characters to it just bolded. We want the characters to be meaningful to the story, right? I mean that's always the goal. I mean you want people to relate to the side characters just as much as the main character. So yeah, I want a character that people care about enough that something could happen like that.
All right, cool. Well, I am very excited to see where it goes. I'm going to be thinking about this thing all day. Who knows? Maybe I'll send some stuff over. But I digress. David, thank you very much for taking the time out of today, your weekend, to come and join us. And
Of course, thank you.
no, thank you.
How could I possibly be the man if you're the man?
I'm not the man. I'm just the man who knows the man. And you, sir, are the man. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Wohl. Thank you, David. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
And thanks everyone for their contributions. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye-bye.